standing on $5 million, the grand prize of the most insane competition show you've ever seen.
CLOUDZILLA. My name is Taysia, and I am passionate about making meaningful connections, building community, and sharing my story. I just want to inspire others to embrace their own path and realize that you can choose happiness, and that happiness is a mindset. So I'm just sharing my hardships, my struggles, and my recent achievements, and I'm like really excited about it. Young, I remember feeling anxiety, I remember feeling depressed, all these like really big emotions that I would just like bury down like super deep. So when I wasn't opening up, it made me struggle more. So it makes me want to just tell my story all the time, be open, and throw away the stigma that mental health should be like this quiet little secret, or that it's not real. With my mental health and just like any other hardships in life, I've learned to remain resilient, and I've just learned that positivity really helps. I think that people underestimate the power of the tongue, the things that they say. I've realized that having a positive mindset can really impact how your world shifts. I think a lot of people can relate to the feeling that admitting you're struggling can equal like defeat, and I think that was kind of subconsciously in the back of my head. So it took a lot to accept that I needed to open up, and accept that the things that I was thinking and what I was feeling was actually real and needed to be acknowledged, rather than turning a blind eye to them and pretending everything was just all fine and dandy. So acceptance was the biggest step for me. And then once I was able to accept and admit to myself mostly, and then be open about it to others, that I was struggling with these things, it got better. So I felt like less alone, as corny as it sounds, and I felt like more understood. So once I realized that admitting that I was struggling, or like going to therapy, starting medication, wasn't defeat, and it was actually gonna help me, and it was just my brain literally has a chemical imbalance. I was in high school when I first started seeing a therapist. It was because I was having panic attacks randomly, and I really didn't know what those even were. And the therapist I was seeing didn't really help. Continued trying therapy over and over again, and I really didn't have a successful experience until I found a good therapist. I thought it was the experience of therapy, but it was really just who I was seeing and how I was looking at therapy as a whole. Again, your perspective. So eventually, with a good therapist, I was able to notice like common thought patterns. I was able to notice a lot more things about myself that I didn't know before. I knew I had depression, I knew I had anxiety, but eventually I realized that I also struggled with OCD. There's a lot of things that came up that I was able to learn about myself, and that just made me more fulfilled in who I was. I took steps to take care of that, like starting medication, and it was literally like night and day, and it really did change my life. A few years back, me and my wife had this realization, I guess, that we weren't really putting our happiness first, and we weren't making happiness a priority for us. We were more focused on life, you know, like handling our responsibilities and doing the things in our timeline so that we can reach our goals and meet success. But a big realization is that we can do both, and we should be able to do things every day that fill up our cup and make us feel special and make us feel like we have purpose. So we started doing that. Every day we did something to make us happy, and we're still trying our best to do that to this day. So that, again, that kind of helps shift your perspective. It makes it a little bit easier to make that happiness a mindset and like live through these hard life things that come up, right? All of these hardships. I feel like when you struggle with your mental health, you can become content when you finally have that kind of figured out. And life can get a little bit mundane, and you're not really necessarily unhappy, but you're not completely fulfilled. So it's like that's what pushed me to make life my own. I feel like, again, I was thinking about all these things that society told me that I should be doing, or all these boxes that I was put into growing up and even now, and I want to just challenge that. I want to do things that I feel like I'm not supposed to do, and I started slacklining. I went on a reality TV show. I joined a sorority. All of these things that I push myself out of my comfort zone so that I can take that risk and just feel more fulfilled, right? So that I wasn't just feeling content. I wasn't feeling average. I feel like I had a purpose. So I played sports all my life, so I've always had this like sense of camaraderie instilled in me. And then once I stopped playing sports and I like retired per se, I didn't have that like team feel. I had a good support system, but that support system wasn't necessarily feeling like this community team feel, you know? So when I had the opportunity to join Delta, which was going to be a founding, like first ever sorority at Temple, it taught me so much about community and support, and like it brought that feeling back. So through joining Tri Delta, I learned a lot about myself, one of which is that I like doing new things. I like putting myself out there into like these scary, weird situations, and just seeing what I'm capable of. And applying for Beast Games was right in alignment with that. I learned that I was a lot more social than I really thought I was. I feel like I'm very introverted and that I don't get a lot of joy or energy from really talking with people. But when I was at Beast Games, I found so much joy in just meeting new people and learning about these other perspectives, why they were there. And both experiences just helped me grow in so many different ways. Wife had previously competed in a Mr. Beast video, and she really enjoyed her experience. She was a big Mr. Beast fan since he like started like posting on YouTube. And she had the opportunity, and I saw her excitement and that joy that she had there. It like instantly clicked that I would really enjoy something like that too. So as I was moseying along in life, I eventually applied to one of the forms in Mr. Beast casting. This was like so long ago. I can see my little video of me looking so young and so petite and skinny. I'm 24 years old and I'm currently residing in Maricopa, Arizona. For work, I'm a site leader and after school. But I look back at that and that was so long ago. And then eventually, I'd say like 3 years later, they finally messaged me and asked me to apply to Beast Games. And then I was like really scared. And then I was kind of gaslighting myself into thinking that I didn't want to do it. I told myself that I didn't want to do it. And then eventually my wife was like, you keep talking about that. I think that you want to go do that and you should do it. So I said, why not? I told myself I'm not going to put too much energy into my video. I'm just going to record myself really quick, send it in, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And then they got back to me and then they said, congratulations, they love my video. I was so excited. I was like ready to go right away. So we competed in the qualifier for Vegas first.
Oh, look. Oh, they're running. Oh, he's going. Oh.
Oh look, those two are racing for flag 1.
That's what they were inviting me to. So I was like so excited to compete and secure my spot on like Prime Video. What? Person. So when I knew going into this experience that I would have to kind of be more adaptable and more flexible than I was in my day-to-day life. So I started just practicing focusing on the things that I could control as best as I could, and then like figuring out a way to mentally calm myself and stay grounded when things were out of my control, which was like all the time. I also started this like toxic positivity. I like told myself I had already won. I told myself there's no chance I was leaving. There's no chance I was going home. Eye on the prize. No way that I would speak one negative word. No one could talk to me about what happens if I lose. And I regret that so much because that was to my downfall when I ended up going home. The challenge that actually ended up sending me home was the biggest test of my resilience because I was absolutely devastated.
That one person.
So I really had to push through the mundane feeling of life when I came home from that really exciting experience and change my perspective and shift what I was saying to myself in my head to realize that I had a beautiful life before I left, and now I have an even more beautiful life because I had this experience. As you can imagine, filming a reality TV show, you never knew what was gonna happen. So I'd say exhilarating because the feeling of knowing something was coming, but just like not knowing what, and knowing it was gonna be super awesome, was like such a fun feeling. I would also say challenging, of course, because like it was such a struggle being away from home, being away from my wife, and also partly not knowing what was coming. You never knowing if you were going to go home the next day or if you were going to be here for a lot longer, how you're going to be perceived, everything. And then I would say unforgettable because like everything we experienced, we know that experience and those memories are ours, and it's like protected and ingrained in all of our brains, and I will remember that for the rest of my life. Every day was like structured, but at the same time it felt like it wasn't. You could find us plotting and scheming, guessing all of these random things about what the challenges are going to be. We're also collaborating, hanging out, talking, telling each other our life stories, getting to know each other, still meeting new people after like so many days because there's just so many of us. We would also be filming at night, so a lot of our challenges were filmed throughout the night, so we would have to be wide-eyed and try to stay awake. So if we weren't strategizing, we were competing, and then if we weren't competing, we were reflecting and like decompressing because a lot of us were losing friends like left and right because people were going home like so fast. Leaving Beast Games was like an indescribable pain that I would have never imagined I was gonna feel when I left. If you know me, my personality is very much so seeing the glass half full at every possible chance that you can, toxic positivity almost. And when I left Beast Games, I was completely the opposite. All I could see was what I missed out on, that I didn't reach my goal of making top 100 at least, all of these different things, like, right? So I was being really hard on myself. After I was able to kind of start taking care of myself, utilize my support system and not isolate myself, I was able to find a lot more happiness in the experience. I was able to see the glass half full, and now I look back and I'm just like so grateful for it. I'm so happy. I reminded myself of my wife at home and all of the confident and amazing words that she told me, my family, every other part of my support system. And I remembered the $5 million. So that was pretty much enough to keep my mind focused and stay grounded, take my deep breaths, surround myself with positive people, and make the most of the experience. It sounds corny. I feel like a little girl saying this, but every time I like made a new friend, I felt really special. It was like this small little victory because one, this is there's social aspects to this show, right? But on top of that, it was just like really reassuring to know that other people were interested in getting to know me, and again, another opportunity for me to be able to inspire them, or maybe just like help them see things in a different light, or not feel alone, or whatever the situation was. I like to get to know people. I like to feel connected. So every time I like made a new friend, it was like this little win. Behind the scenes, we were literally just conspiring. We were guessing what the next challenge was going to be, or telling each other rumors that we heard, or we were just like talking about our lives outside of the games. We were getting to know each other and just like making each other laugh. When we were in the city, we got to play basketball and soccer and had all these fun games. We got to eat anytime we wanted to, and the food was good. So it was just like, it was a really fun experience. A lot of people stayed up super late. A lot of people like didn't even sleep because we were like filming for so long at night, and I would wake up and the same people would still be wide awake, never had a blip of sleep. So they were just making the most of the experience, and I'm kind of jealous that I wish I could go back and not sleep at all so that I could just have more of the experience and more stories to share. I wish people understood that competing on Beast Games was not just a game. It wasn't just a reality TV show. It was a combination of so many different things. People gave up a lot of things to be there, and yes, that was their choice, but that doesn't that still hurts, and that's still painful. Losing out on a chance at $5 million is painful, and losing out and knowing that these friends that you made along the way are gonna keep going forward and living these experiences, and you're going home to your life. That hurts. So I just say, have a little grace when you're watching people like me bawl their eyes out on TV. And although you can make fun of us a little bit for being dramatic, you have to understand that it's more than you may know, because as corny as it sounds, you weren't there. Try new experiences. I want to keep doing crazy things like competing on Beast Games, and I want to keep pushing myself to my limits. And on top of that, I want to share my story. I want to inspire others. I want people to know that you can make happiness your own priority. You can change your life. Shifting your perspective can do a lot. So I just want to share that, and that's my main goal, to keep sharing my insights, the things that I learned, and all the fun and cool stuff that I do or that I find on the way. I'm sharing my story because I want other people to know that their voice actually makes a difference. And you never know who is listening when you share that you're struggling. You never know who can resonate. And when you let it go out of your system, it's a little bit less heavy. So I'm just encouraging people to, open up so that other people feel less alone and can stop telling themselves, like I did, that their problems aren't real, or that the feelings that they're feeling don't matter. Because they do. If you are the audience watching this, I want you to know that you do not have to have it all figured out. It does not have to be perfect to be successful. There is not one road to success. There is so many. And this is me partly telling myself as well. from me, you can find me on Instagram or TikTok at ohey_it's_tay, and I will be sharing slacklining content, all my new thrills and cool adventures that I find, and who knows, maybe you'll see me on another reality TV show.